Sometimes you just have to go for it. And we all have to go for it. The days where you don't feel like doing anything, the days where you feel strong resistances, the days where nothing seems to make sense, we all go for it. Not just you, everyone. And it's okay to go for it. Because in this world, we often think we have to be perfect all the time. We think we have to have it all figured out all the time. We think we have to just be in a good mood all the time, you know? It's good to be positive. It's good to have a positive outlook on life. But there will be days where you don't have that. There will be days where you still feel optimistic, but inside there's something else going on. And it's important that you allow yourself to go for it, because that's the only way to get out of it. And a lot of times we avoid it with all types of habits, with all types of distractions. And we live in a time of mass distraction. Cell phones, social media, TV, Netflix, everything can be a distraction, you know? Even sleep. And so this has been me sometimes. Like when when I don't feel like doing anything, I just escape back to sleep as much as I can. And sometimes I just have to laugh because I already know that I'm shedding, like I'm letting this go. I'm releasing it. And I know that I'm gonna come out on the other side and feel energized and motivated and inspired all the time. But nobody's always motivated. It's still important to do the things that move you forward. But at the same time, it's important to allow yourself to go for it when you go for it. You know what I mean? Like, you don't have to have it all figured out all the time, and you don't have to be perfect all the time. And although it seems like there's some people out there who have it all figured out, they don't. They still face their own battles. They still have their own problems. And even if they've overcome the old problems, sometimes you outgrow them and you're not where you used to be. That's the evolution. But new problems arise, and then you have to find a new way to go for it. And maybe you find better ways of avoidance, you know? For example, back then, when I was emotional and was going through stuff, I was eating a lot of sweets and candies. I don't eat that shit no more. But I still eat chocolate, but I don't eat the sugary chocolate. I get myself some quality chocolate with coconut sugar and no palm oil and all of that stuff, you know? But still, it's a way for me of escaping. It's still a way of my inner child looking for a way to feel safe and to just be there. Or sometimes I just like to watch anime because I love anime. There's nothing wrong with that. But it's always important to ask yourself from what standpoint it comes from, you know? And even if you're aware that it comes from a standpoint of escaping and of avoidance, you're already there, because then you already know this. Okay, I'm not doing this because I enjoy it. I'm doing this because I'm escaping. And then you just have to have the intention to change it, and then you have to find the courage to change it. But even the avoidance itself is okay sometimes, you know? Because the truth is, we all avoid things sometimes. And it's just in our human nature. But at the end of the day, there will come a point where you have to face yourself, where you have to face the thing that's bothering you, where you have to face the uncomfortable things and get uncomfortable so that you can elevate and move to the next stage, so that you can align yourself with your higher vision and be that version that you feel inside. Because I know you have it, I know I have it, I know we all have it, and there's always levels to that, you know, there's infinite levels, and life is about that evolution, and life is about shedding, and every time you shed, you will go for it. So allow yourself to go for it, because it's a natural process of life. And when you stop resisting the resistance and just allow yourself to be in that resistance and just feel into it, the sooner it passes. Although it sounds paradoxical. It doesn't mean that you mess up your life and that you excuse yourself all the time, but it means that you are just aware of what's happening. That, for example, with the emotional eating, when you catch yourself eating out of emotion, that you consciously do it. That you say, okay, this seems like the best solution to me right now. I haven't found a better solution as of now. So let me consciously act this out, because if you consciously act it out, it stops becoming unconscious, and then you can start changing it. Because if you're conscious of something, you can change it. If you're not aware of it, if you're not aware that there's a problem, then you're not going to change it. If you're not aware that a certain food is bad for you, then you won't probably cut it out, you know? But if you cut it out for a time to just see how it affects you, to see how you feel without it, and then eat it again, you usually become aware of how it affects your body. This happened to me when I went vegetarian for the first time in 2020, and then ate meat again. I really saw how it affected my body, and then even after that, like I went plant-based. Like I'm not totally plant-based most of the time, but sometimes I still eat fish, and sometimes I still eat eggs. And I stopped even labeling myself as the plant-based vegan guy, because that can be a trap in and of itself, you know. I just eat how I feel in my nature right now. And I know my highest vision, my highest self, probably is fully plant-based, because that's how I feel the best most of the time. But if I'm not fully there yet, this is okay too, you know? Like, I allow myself to grow into it naturally. And I eat way better than I used to eat. But what I wanted to say is, the first time I went vegetarian and then ate meat again, I really noticed how it affects my body, and how it changed how it just felt in my body. I felt heavy, and I didn't like that feeling, you know? And maybe it's different for you. Maybe you cut out the meat and you feel like shit, and then you eat meat again and you feel grounded again. But sometimes you need to cut things out and then do it again, and then you see how it affects you. And then you become aware of how it's actually influencing your life, and if it's a good thing for you or a bad thing. And sometimes the seasons change. Sometimes what used to be good for you is not good for you anymore, and sometimes what used to be bad for you could be good for you now. You know what I mean? Because it's always, you're changing, and your body's changing, and your point of view is changing. So I'm not saying there's a right or wrong. It's just about you being in tune with yourself and being where you are. And when you feel those resistances, just know that those resistances are there for a reason when you go for it. And you have to allow yourself to go for it, you know? And when you go for it, you get out of it. And at some point, you outgrow it, and you don't have the desire to do it anymore, because it just doesn't feel aligned with you anymore. When I was young, I used to go to McDonald's almost every day. Now I haven't eaten McDonald's in, in 7 years or 8 years. If you're eating it, I'm not judging you, you know, if it serves you good, but I wouldn't put that in my body anymore, and I have no desire to put that in my body anymore, simply because I've outgrown it. And I know in 10 years, I will be at another point where I've outgrown other things that I might haven't even been aware of now. And same goes for you, you know? And that's totally fine. The most important thing is that you're just being honest with yourself, that you honor yourself where you are, and that you just allow yourself to unfold with your nature, that you don't force your growth, because we can't force growth. You can see everything that grew around me. You can't force that. It had its own timing, and it had to go through its own evolution, you know? And it's a way different bush, or a way different tree than it used to be when it was an acorn or a seed. And the same goes with us. And every stage of our growth has its own needs, and we have our own desires. And when you just allow yourself to go through the resistances, but at the same time intend for you to get out of those resistances, but just allow yourself to go through it without beating yourself up, and knowing that you're going to come out at the better side, then from my experiences, the sooner it passes. And the more you just even enjoy this phase of resistance, or you enjoy this phase of ignorance, you know? And when you come to the point where you come back to you, or to your source, and you say, you know what, I had enough of this. Like, let me align with my higher self anymore. And you will get back to the point if you have that connection. Then things will start to flow again. But sometimes you have to be in that ignorant state for you to experience that ignorance, and to see how it's not serving you anymore. And then you shift back to your alignment, to the alignment with your higher self, to alignment with your source, to alignment with flow. And that's it, man, you know? So don't beat yourself up if you're going through a tough phase, or if you don't like doing things. Still do the things that you know need to get done. Doesn't mean that you shouldn't take care of your responsibilities. If you have family, take care of your family. You can't just say, like, I don't want to do it today. Like, I don't care about my kids. You know, you still got to show up. There's still some responsibilities that you have to acknowledge, but maybe sometimes you just got to take it a bit slower and just honor where you are. That's the most important aspect, that you just appreciate yourself and respect yourself for where you are in the moment, because then you allow yourself to grow with your nature, and that's the key. So don't be too hard on yourself, and just allow yourself to unfold with that which has always unfolded inside of you, and that which doesn't need any of your influence. It just needs your cooperation. It just needs your openness. And when you open yourself up to that infinite aspect of yourself, it grows naturally. And then you're gonna outgrow those old habits, those old phases. There's still some things that you can do. There's still some practices that you can do. There's still some ways how you can approach it. But even with that, you're gonna find your way to doing that. There's no right way. I found for myself some practices which I've also condensed in something called the 7-day Alchemy Method, which is all about releasing emotional blockages and breaking out of limiting patterns. Basically, just what I've learned from my journey, what helped me to cope with these phases, especially when there's resistance or when there's self-sabotage, because there's always an aspect of you that is in conflict with you when you are sabotaging yourself, which is also seen as something very negative. And there's ways how to align with that. So if you want to go deep into that, you can check that out in the link in the description. It's all about stepping into creative flow and realigning with your nature and finding your unique gift and expressing that freely. And if that speaks to you, you can check it out. Apart from that, I thank you for being here. Thank you for taking the time to listen, and remind yourself it's okay to go through it. It's okay to be where you are. Matter of fact, you are where you are because that's where you're supposed to be at this time. You can intend for better things in the future, but if you're going through it right now, allow yourself to go through it. I'm Law Haru, and this is the Way of Law. One love.